Welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you, and thanks for checking out the channel. Hope you're doing well there. If you guys could subscribe, that'd be great. Appreciate you stopping by. And check out the Tobin and Leroy show. Weekdays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on 104.3 WQAM. That is the YouTube channel now. We switched to the FM dial. Ooh, it sounds good. It sounds crystal clear, all right? It sounds good for all you FM listeners out there. So check that on out. YouTube watchers, Twitch watchers, it is the same, but I would appreciate you guys subscribing and checking that on out. Okay, we actually got some Heat stuff today. I got a few things on the Heat I do want to get off my chest, but this one specifically will be about the schedule. There'll be some other topics I dive into. I'll throw up those videos. You guys can check that out. But today, let us get to the Miami Heat schedule release. It has been released. We knew that the Miami Heat, we knew they were going to be a forgotten franchise. This was very obvious based on the play-in games, or the in-season tournament games with their funky little courts, and the Christmas games. We knew they weren't going to be on that, and the opening games, we knew they weren't going to be on that. And mind you, this is going to be a year where the networks are changing. We got Prime Video with D Wade and Udonis Haslem. They are going to be Miami Heat royalty. They are going to be the representation of the Heat nationally. That is what we got. We're going to NBC this year. It's so we're only going to get the great sounds of John Tesh for a Heat game. Very, very little in this one. It looks like a couple of appearances, but let's get to this. So the Heat, they open up the schedule, and this one is a shocker. At the Orlando Magic on October 22nd. 7 o'clock tip-off to open up the season up there in Central Florida. And look, I think that's all. I will say, kind of an exciting game to start the season. I know we are a little bit, we definitely get bored of the Orlando Magic matchup, which is a frequent Miami Heat opener. They did it last year. They did it, I think, what was it, they did it last year. It's been a little bit since they've done the Orlando Open. The last one before that actually was 2018, but it does feel like something they do every year. And, of course, they just had this press conference for the Puerto Rico series that they're going to do. But back-to-back years, the Miami Heat are going to open up with the Orlando Magic. Last year it was at home. This year it is in Orlando. And kind of a juicy game to start the season. I actually think the Heat have a pretty juicy start to the schedule, which is exciting. Yeah, I think it's actually a pretty juicy start to the schedule. It's a tough start to the schedule because the Miami Heat, they're going to get their West Coast trip like right out of the way, right out of the gate. That was like the first thing that stood out to me. I was like, whoa, that's a hell of a schedule to start the season. Miami will then go from Orlando. They have a day off, and then they will go on Friday to take on the Memphis Grizzlies. And, of course, Ja Morant, game winner. Colin Cowell wear a pigeon. We're not forgetting Ja. Little drama grenade there to go after the Memphis Grizzlies. Always fun to see. You got Zach. Well, Zach Edey probably will actually be hurt. He's got that foot thing, so we will not get the rematch of the two rookie centers from last year. Sunday, October 26th. This is about as good as a home opener as you can get. Sunday, October 26th, 6 p.m., the New York Knicks are going to be in town, which is going to be juicy. I do have mixed feelings because I do feel like for a home opener, I do know that those roach rat-infested fans with their stained John Starks jerseys and their Latrell Sprewell pit stain jerseys, I do know they're going to be infesting all of the upper deck at Uptown. So I will say, Heat fans, try and have a conscience and don't sell your tickets. But I understand that that's a big market when a lot of season ticket holders want to make their money on. But yeah, definitely right out of the chute, Miami's got themselves their handful. Then they will host the Charlotte Hornets on Tuesday, October 28th. We refer to that as Tob's birthday game, which they have now done, I think, 2 years in a row. Because I remember last year, I believe D Wade's statue night was on my birthday. So, yeah, that was the case. D Wade statue night, the win against the Pistons was the cause there. So they got 2 home games, and then they go back out. This one is interesting. They go right back out on the road after that, and it's a lot of West Coast games. They're going to start out as against the San Antonio Spurs. That's obviously a game I can't wait for. Kel'el Ware, Victor Wembanyama. The Spurs got De'Aaron Fox extended. They got a very, very exciting roster to their fold as well. So Dylan Harper is going to be on the team this year. Stephon Castle, Rookie of the Year. That to me is a very exciting matchup. And then the Heat go out to LA. They got both LA teams. Lakers, Luka, LeBron. Will LeBron be on the Lakers? I have no idea. Is he going to be traded to the Clippers? Will they face him the next day? Will he be back on the Miami Heat? Probably not. But we know that these teams had reportedly engaged in some kind of trade talks. None of these games, by the way, on national TV. We'll get to that topic in just a second. Then they got the Clippers on the second night of a back-to-back. Then a couple of days off, and they finish up the road trip against the Denver Nuggets. Denver Nuggets on getaway day. In my favorite game, that's a win, that's a loss. I could already just very confidently say, that's a loss, dog. Whew. That big time, that mountain air. Then the Heat come back. They got themselves a 4-game homestand against the Hornets again. Getting our Hornets games out of the way. Then they have Portland on Saturday, November 8th. And then they got Cleveland for 2 home games. So a big East test for the Heat right there. Finally, on November 14th, they go to New York to take on the Knicks. And that will be the Heat's first nationally televised game, one of only 5 nationally televised games for Miami. They got a home-and-home with the Knicks Friday, November 14th on Amazon Prime with D-Wade, Udonis Haslem there. And then they will have the Knicks again. And then their lone ESPN appearance from Jump this schedule will be later on the next week. It'll be November 19th. You guessed it. Who'd you think ESPN was going to want the Miami Heat against? Jimmy Butler and the Golden State Warriors. So on its outset, I mean, right off the bat, I do think the Heat have a very challenging schedule. I think that we're going to get a good dose of where the Miami Heat are, which is probably a good thing. There's a lot of talk about this franchise and talking about what a full camp's going to mean for them, what having this cohesiveness. You are going to bring Norman Powell into the fold with this team. He'll get that little revenge game against the Clippers because you know that he feels a little bit slighted that they didn't have any extension talks with him, so that'll be fun. But, yeah, like right off the bat, I mean, that is not an easy schedule for the Miami Heat. And, they'll finish on November. They got Chicago. They got Philadelphia. Then they're going to host Dallas. So Cooper Flag fans who want to see him November 24th at the Kaseya Center. Then we'll have Giannis come into town a couple of days after that. Then Detroit. The Detroit games were all wacky last year. November 29th to finish out the first full month of the season. And that's going to be a crazy one. Then Norman Powell gets to welcome in his Clippers on December 1st to kick off December. A couple of tough then you got a West Coast. No, not a West Coast show. I'm sorry. Dallas, Orlando again. And then you'll be back home hosting Sacramento. When's our first Boston game? Let's get to this. First Boston game is going to be Friday, December 19th on the road. That'll be a road trip with Boston and at New York. What else stands out here? I don't want to just read every single game to you guys. I'll get to the national TV games. So the Heat, they will not be on national TV from November 19th. Got the Boston game. Joker's going to be in town on December 29th. That's a big one. Ant-Man, for those who want to make whale calls, he'll be in town January 3rd. That's a Saturday at 5 o'clock, early start. Pels, if you guys want to flirt with Zion, will be the next day. That's an interesting back-to-back at home. You got Minnesota and New Orleans on the 3rd and 4th. So Tuesday, January 6th, they go to Minnesota for a road trip. That game is going to be on NBC. So got that going for you. 8 o'clock. and take on the defending champs on Sunday, January 11th. And then you got them back at home 2 games later with January 17th. Then the Heat have their next West Coast trip, the 19th. They're in Golden State. They got a back-to-back in Sacramento the next day, then in Portland, then Utah to go visit the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and, of course, Danny Ainge, and, of course, D. Wade. Maybe he'll take a stop there after some of the slopes. And then they wrap up that road trip with Phoenix and those hotly contested trade talks that they had last year. So, yeah, you definitely have the harder West Coast trip, like right off the bat, right off the rip, having both LA teams and Denver to close out. That's an interesting one because you're always wondering, like, all right, when are those West Coast swings going to be? That was a pretty solid trip for Miami last year with probably some of Jaime's best basketball, but some of Jovic's best basketball. Now, mind you, this was before all of the drama was settled completely. But you got it right there towards the end of the East, right towards the end of January. Yeah, I mean, none of these are nationally televised. You got Memphis at home on the 21st. Last time Ja was there, he had himself a game winner. February 28th is the next nationally televised game. That's on Amazon Prime Saturday, February 28th to close out the month, 3 o'clock against the Houston Rockets. Of course, there was a scuffle last year. Kevin Durant ended up going to there instead of Miami. Kind of see why the tie was there, is why that was picked as one of the games for the Heat. So no surprise there. And back end of the schedule, let's see. Get after the All-Star break. Got some Nets games in there. Got some Hornets. Kind of a light schedule to start off March. Washington. Detroit's always tough. We'll see where Milwaukee's at, where the whole Giannis thing is at by then. You got a St. Patrick's Day on the road in Charlotte. A couple days before that, you got Orlando at home. Thursday, March 19th, will be the Lakers. We'll see what they look like at then. If you're looking for Victor Wembanyama's visit, it'll be March 23rd. That's a Monday at 7:30. And then the Heat go to Cleveland. That's a little bit weird. They go to Cleveland for 2 in Cleveland. So 2 Clevelands down here, back-to-back, 2 in Cleveland, back-to-back. Try and ease that travel. And the Heat also have they have a little 2-game series with Toronto to end the season. End of the season's kind of favorable for the Heat if they're in any kind of a run. They got Washington, Toronto, Washington. And then they finish out the season hosting the Atlanta Hawks. The last game on national television on Peacock is March 30th, hosting the Philadelphia 76ers. So, all in all, done schedule reading. Miami Heat, thing that stands out, tough start to the schedule. Kind of a cupcake ending if things go right for Miami. So we're going to get a good sense of where Miami's at, get that tough trip out of the way early on. And then the other thing that obviously stands out, 5 national TV games. That's nothing. That is piss poor. The Miami Heat, not very relevant in a lot of people's eyes right now. I know not you, because you guys are beautiful hardcore who are tuning in, but this is what it is. I'm not really surprised to see these low numbers that are around. There was a list that was put out by Brett Siegel of Clutch Points. Barry Jackson points out there's only 7 teams that have fewer national TV games than the Miami Heat. And he's right about that. You got Brooklyn. They only have 2. Charlotte has 3. Chicago has 3. Washington, Utah, Toronto, all with 2 apiece. And New Orleans with 2. So you're talking about the bottom of the barrel in this league. The one that surprised me, honestly, I can't believe that nobody learns their lesson with this, is Philadelphia has 14 nationally televised games. I understand they're a Northeast team. Reap what you sow, dude. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. The most nationally televised games, the Lakers and the Warriors. Boston, in spite of their injuries, still have 25. These are all very heavily weighted on the Western Conference side of things. But yeah, man, I mean, Miami not having a lot of nationally televised games, like, I didn't think they were going to have a lot of nationally televised games. If they play well during the season, maybe some of those numbers will pick up. They do have more flexibility of dumping games and picking games up. It's kind of a standing with what their team. We know that the Tim Legler thing was thrown out there, right, where he said he's bored of the Miami Heat. So, it's on Miami to make them not bored. It's on Miami to make them not bored. It's on, and not only that, but like Jimmy Butler was really like the national guy that got all the attention and the buzz. And now Miami's got this opportunity with this team, which is, not sexy nationally. I've said this. It's not a team that's moving the needle nationally with a lot of headlines. But I think locally there's a lot of intriguing stuff around this team. Where they're going to pivot to, how good they're going to be, what stands out about them. And we're going to get those answers. And I think it's good that we're going to get those answers probably right off the bat. Health permitting, obviously, and everybody is good to go. Hopefully you get some true answers about where this team is. But even if you look at some of the contemporaries, like Atlanta's got 13 national televised games as opposed to Miami. Indiana, who is the defending Eastern Conference champ, but everybody's hurt. They got 9. Phoenix has more than Miami. They have 9, almost twice as many as Miami does. This is Portland has Portland 8. Crazy, dude. So yeah, not a lot of national games to represent the Miami Heat. None of this is surprising. Maybe a little bit sobering to the franchise. But you want to know something, dude? Hey, America, if you don't want to watch the Heat, that's a you problem, okay? You don't want to watch the rise of Kasparas Yakachonis? That's a you problem. If you want to miss Jovic, dude, the Serbian Terminator, and what he's going to do this year, by all means, please, tune in for another Joel Embiid DNP. Or, please, I don't want to disrupt you by the absolute feisty Portland Trailblazers. Name one of them besides Scoot Henderson. See if you're going to enjoy that. I'm sure it's going to be riveting television. Oh, my God. I can't believe the Kings have more games than the Heat. The Kings have more games than the Heat? Domantas Sabonis, you guys really want to watch that bozo go out there and do what he's going to do with DeMar DeRozan. You want to see that more than Kel'el Ware? Let me just tell you, you know who that's a loss for? America. Not Heat Nation, the nation. That's who that's a loss for. Please, go out there and just enjoy it. Ja Morant and his little antics when he's actually out there. Please, I hope that you revel in all of that and you'll get to watch whatever G Leaguer comes up for the Grizzlies instead of Boy Wonder. Or if you guys want to go out here and just watch whatever is left of the Indiana Pacers instead of Bam Adebayo, then I guess that's a miss for the rest of you, not me. Because I'm going to have my friends, okay? I'm going to have Eric Reed and John Crotty to comfort me, to bring me through these games, and I'm going to tune in there. That's fine with me. I don't need you. You need us. So you're going to miss out on the party. You guys can keep complaining about, oh, I can't believe another nationally televised game where Paul George isn't there. Well, what did you expect, ladies and gentlemen? And by the way, it ain't exactly like the Atlanta Hawks are built out of a sturdy foundation as well. Oh, Porzingis is out again today? Crazy. Oh, I guess I'll turn into Trae Young. So I'm not bitter. I don't care. Honestly, I'm going to be watching them no matter what. Listen, dude, I'm sitting here watching Jamaica versus Costa Rica. I'm going to find me. If you want to miss out on it, enjoy whatever the hell remnants is left for you. But I'm good here.